There's a book by the Chinese philosopher Sun Tzu called The Art of War, and in this book he describes 5 different flavors in cooking. Nowadays we have a kind of understanding that flavors are divided into basically 5 categories. There's sweet, bitter, salty, sour, and umami, which is savory. Pretty much any dish you've ever had is a combination of those flavors with different textures. Where the really interesting aspect of cooking kind of shows itself is in a chef's creativity in combining these flavors in like new and interesting ways. I think probably the earliest memories of food that I've had are at like family dinners, family holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas when I was younger. The turkey coming out of the oven with the steam sort of coming off of it and everything. I started cooking pretty much out of practical reasons. I was just hungry. I would just doctor up whatever I had in my fridge, and the first attempts at things that I made were pretty awful. But over time I made more and more things, became more aware of how certain flavors mixed with others. There are a lot of things about cooking that are really enjoyable and fun that I like. The main thing I think is that you can enjoy the fruits of your labors almost immediately after you're finished. Most people in the world enjoy food, so it's an art form that generally kind of appeals to pretty much everyone. There's a lot of memorization, creativity, a lot of technical precision that goes into it, and a lot of room to improve. That really just piques my interest. When creating a dish, there's a lot of thought that has to go into choosing certain ingredients, and there's a lot of experimentation that happens with a dish. Like I might do a recipe like 3 or 4 different times, trying something different every single time until I finally settle on something. As far as making the dish itself, that just always varies. There are things I make that take 10 minutes, and there are a few things I've made that have taken like a whole day. I've had so many bad cooking experiences that it's hard for me to even really distinguish between them because they happen so often. I mean, I've burnt things, I've undercooked things, I've oversalted things. I've tossed things into hot oil that cause the oil to explode and get all over everyone, including the dog, and cause minor second-degree burns. I'm Korean, which I think culturally is important to my cooking. Koreans, just as a people, are obsessed with food. They're like, they love food of pretty much every variety. They love talking about food, they love making food, eating it. My favorite meal or cultural food to make is probably anything involving rice, to be honest. Rice is just one of those starches, one of those bases for foods that is really versatile and almost always tastes good with almost anything. So I've made a lot of non-Asian foods. I mean, I would say that I pretty much make an equal distribution. I've made baba ganoush, I've made tahini, hummus, falafel, I've made puttanesca, which is this Italian dish. I've made a Spanish gambas al ajillo, which is like this sort of stir-fried shrimp dish. I've made my own hamburgers, I've fried my own fries. In my case here, I'm making something a little bit like an Italian hero, using a lot of traditional Italian cold cuts. The 3 I'm using are salami, coppa, and prosciutto. I'm making my own mayonnaise with a combination of olive oil, garlic, mustard, and black pepper. I'm going to be roasting some black pepper to add a little bit of darkness. Using a French baguette for some crunch and just a little bit of softness. I'm going to be bringing out the sort of tones of the basil by smearing on a little bit of gremolata, which has this kind of like sweet, bitter taste to it, an herbal taste, that I think will shine through the rest of the other flavors in the sandwich and really be noticeable in the final product. My favorite thing about cooking is probably that you get to enjoy the results of your food right after, the results of your work right after you make it. My least favorite thing about cooking is cleaning everything up. Cooking has been absolutely great. It's something that has been very useful as a skill for me, and forging connections with people that I'm only somewhat acquainted with. The sense of satisfaction that I feel is like a slowly cresting wave in the middle of the ocean at midnight, the moonlight dancing upon the crest. That's how I feel.